How you going today, guys? My name is Kilk, and welcome to Inside the Mind of an Immortal. Today, I wanted to talk about a transgression I see from Iron all the way to Immortal/Radiant games, and even some professional matches. That is, of course, creating space through utility. The basic concept is that you can use your utility to create space and or gather information. For example, let's say you flash into an area, you can now safely push into that space. And I know that sounds super generic, but bear with me, as this video is more about maximizing the value gained from your spent utility. Let me know down in the comments which agent you think is the best for taking space. And without further ado, let's get into it. I want to start off with a clip from a student I had. Now, I apologize for the recording of a recording, but I lost the original. However, I really like this example. Sova drones from tiles and tags the Phoenix in mid, which forces him to fall back into market. Now, there are a couple of things at play here. Brim has smoked off mid to allow his team to take space up short. However, he has also smoked off short, which makes it a bit awkward, as now for them to take space, they will have to push their own smoke. Sova does his job of droning up through mid and gathering information, even getting a tag and forcing someone to fall back into markets. However, because he was out of sync with his team, they haven't gained anything and arguably lost one of the best informational tools that they have. Had they called out for someone to follow the drone into mid or even have someone lurking in the smoke, as soon as he pinged the Phoenix, he could have been sprayed through the smoke or even forced him to fall right back given that he was AWPing. Instead, Phoenix just runs across while tagged and not getting punished at all, and in fact, he just ends up posting up in market. And to make matters worse, Jet dies up in short to the Astra. A play he could have called was to have someone, probably the Jet, follow the drone out into mid. That way he can shoot the Phoenix after he misses the AWP shot, or even while he's tagged. For further safety, Brim can smoke deep mid to cover any potential from being traded from spawn. Another example, however, on a retake this time. Now there's heavy aggression towards A, and Sova falls back and waits for his team before beginning the retake. Now he gets into position and he drones out, which is what he's supposed to do, right? However, if you take a closer look, the Viper wall is still up and his team just aren't in position to capitalize off the information that his drone would get. Now he's able to get 2 pings off, which is absolutely massive. However, his team was just too far back, and given that maze was still dirty, they needed to clear out that area first before the retake can actually begin. Since they had completely lost sight and nothing was really happening on the right hand side, a better play would be for the Sova to wait slightly longer for his team to get into position and the Viper wall to go down, and then for him to drone out to the right, clearing out 410 and maze so that his team can actually get onto site safely and begin the retake from there. Now, I want to take this clip from Fnatic vs Leviathan on Bind. Fnatic start off by defaulting around, seeing what space they can get and any sort of information or utility they can burn out. Viper has a lineup that falls in the garden choke point. And essentially what that does is it denies the ability for anyone who's playing teleporter to fall back safely into sight. Now, if they're stuck in the teleporter area, you can push them up through long and force them through the teleporter, where you have the Astra waiting for them on the other side. What it also does, as in this case, anyone who's jiggling this angle will be forced to fall back into side as well, giving you all of long for free. Skye uses her Trailblazer up long and confirms that Chamber has indeed fallen back. And while this is happening, Fade will use her Prowler to clear out all of Hookah. After all of this, they just end up falling back. The defending Skye will use her Trailblazer to re-clear Hookah and sees no one is there, and the Chamber slowly re-clears long for free. All this util was used to clear out space on B and apply pressure, yet they have come away with no space gain. Not only that, but they didn't draw any extra rotates from the players on A, and the instant re-clear of long and Hookah actually ends up sending the Brim back towards A, because he knows that time is running low and they have to execute onto A. As Sideshow aptly says,
"Yeah, they're not going deep. And this, I think, was one of the struggles with Fnatic on their attack side. They use a lot of utility, but they don't take the space. Perhaps even a little timid."
Now, Fnatic do end up winning this round due to a great opening by Viper and Astra punishes the greed in showers, which gives them control of this entire area, which makes the plant and playing the post plant way easier. Moving on to the very next round, and they open up with a raised boombot long with the same molly that forces the Sky back into sight. Now, in theory, they should actually have complete control of this area. They just end up giving it back up. The defending Sky is able to re-clear it just at the cost of a single Trailblazer. All this utility, and they didn't even take the space. Given the super forward positions that Chamber and Brim have posted up on, as well as Sky jiggle peeking long, they know for certainty that Fnatic have to be towards the hookah side. Or if they wanted to make a play towards A, they would be heard or spotted really early, which would give enough time for the players on B to be able to rotate towards to A. The element of surprise is essentially gone. Again, this is what Sideshow and Bren have to say about it.
Still on the ground.
And Fnatic spend a lot of utility taking B long, but it's always being re-cleared by Shy. Now he can just jiggle peek it again. And look at Leviathan's information on showers and B long. They know Fnatic are crunched in the center of the map.
Now, I think what they could have done is have someone duo with the Raze if they wanted him to go at hookah. That way, you can have someone sit here and just contest the space, making their Sky sweat a little bit, maybe burn a flash, so when it comes time to execute, you'll have a little bit less utility to defend with. Not only that, but you can sit pretty far back and watch it and know that it's still clear. Now, once again, Fnatic do end up winning the round, thanks to Mystic going absolutely nuclear. However, it just highlights how much value is being left out there. Both Astra and Viper have to re-clear long just before and during the execute because it's dirty again, even though they spent so many resources at the beginning of the round clearing out that space. In fact, you can actually see the Astra jump peeking long twice because he has no idea what's there. Sometimes no information is information in of itself. If you want to execute on B on Haven, let's say Sky flashes it or dogs it and sees no one and gets no sound cue, then you know for a period of time that no one can flank you from garage. You have that timing of safety before you have to start watching it or being aware that enemies could come from there if they aren't all accounted for. So even though you're not actively taking that space, you're using the space that you've cleared to help your execute onto B for a period of time. Using utility to push people away from space so you can take it is all well and good, but what about using utility to draw people into space? These trick plays will have diminishing returns as the enemies start to wisen up to it. However, it's good to have in your repertoire to mix into your games here and there. In this example, we've tried to execute a split C. However, with the Omen smoke and also Phoenix about to go down in garage, the call is to fall back and regroup. Now, given we actually have a fair amount of map control with Chamber watching mid and also his trademark on flank, we decide we want to take it slow and re-hit C. So we cut noise and creep up, taking a little bit of space, but most importantly, making sure we're not seen. Now, given we were able to take a lot of this space for free, I assume that players have rotated from C towards B or over towards A. And a really important factor is that enough time has passed where we could have actually walked from C over towards A. Now, knowing this, my plan is to set up 2 smokes over towards A, which would indicate a hit is coming very soon. Hopefully, being able to draw anyone from B and anyone sort of lurking around the C site over towards A. We get into position and Fade ults the site and only tags one player, and from there it's just a very clean execute. Given how long it takes for their retake to begin, it's safe to assume that the remaining 3 enemies were over towards the A site, either being faked out by my smokes or because we were unaccounted for such a long period of time, they had to stretch themselves thin. Finally, I wanted to talk about the passive value gained from utilities such as the Chamber trademark, Cypher or Killjoy utility, and to a lesser extent, Sage Walls. If you place your trademark in halls and it never goes off, you're passively gaining information that no one has come up through halls, or by placing it on flank watch if you're hitting the other side. Maybe an alarm bot covering mid so you don't need to actively watch it. You gain so much map control and information just by those things being there. Don't put your trademark or your alarm bot at the choke point every round, just for the slow or the vulnerability. They take so long to go off, and a lot of the time will get shot before you're able to gain that value from them. And if you're watching down main anyway, then you're not gaining any new information as well. Alright guys, that's all I have for you today. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, and if you'd like to see more content like this, please consider subscribing. It would mean the world to me. Until next time, see ya!